Hello, everyone. Look who I'm sharing space with. This is Theresa, and you all
Hi,
know her
everybody.
as the Heartie Observer. And she is my guest tonight, and I'm so excited that she's here. And we're going to gush over Kevin and Kayla and have a really good time.
It's always a good time with Kevin and Kayla.
I know, I love them. They're like my super couple. I love them. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So before we even get started, you have to talk about your blog. You have to tell them the story that you told me about how it started and why you wanted to put it together, all that good stuff.
Okay. So, back in, I want to say it was the season 6 Christmas special. That's when I really got into When Calls the Heart. I kind of started
Mhm.
watching it. I was like, okay, the town Mountie died. That was pretty much all I knew.
Yeah.
But that kind of made me delve in deeper and
Yeah.
really just kind of, figure out what was going on, watch the earlier seasons. And then during lockdown, during COVID-19, I really got into season 7, and my family every week, every Sunday night, it was like an event. We would all get our snacks and like all get together and actually watch the episode. And by the end of lockdown, I just had so many like thoughts that I wanted to like share, but I didn't really have a platform to do that because I didn't have social media at the time. So then I was just like, why don't I start a blog, talk about some of these things that I'm got circulating in my head? And yeah, that's when I started writing the blog. After that, I got my Instagram page to really promote the blog, but then that became a whole thing in itself too. So that's really where I got started, is during lockdown of 2020. It kind of was like my little happy place that I would go to.
We all needed something, didn't we? We really did. I mean, goodness
Oh yeah.
gracious. Now, so you started your Instagram account after you started your blog, right?
Very shortly after.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they kind of went together, which is really
Mhm.
nice because that's how you get to more people get to find it,
Right.
right? And
Exactly.
you have it linked. You have a link.
Yes, I usually have the link in the bio. Today I have the link to this live in the
Right.
bio, but
Good.
normally I have the blog.
Right. So there are some people that are probably here that are new that really don't know, although I mean, you have to be kind of blind. I know who you are. But tell us again what it is. What's the title? Like how do we find you on Instagram?
Yeah. So it's just the Heartie Observer, and then my handle is the same. It's the Heartie Observer. I guess with Instagram, is there like a .com or something?
I
I
don't
can't
know.
remember.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I think when you just go in and you start typing that
Hmm.
in the search, it comes up. And
Right.
then you have like I think it's a square box, right?
Hmm.
Is your you don't have a picture. It's a heart. That's your little
Yes.
icon, right?
Yeah, it's the little heart, and then it has a little Mountie hat in the middle somewhere. Yeah,
That's
had to
cute.
add that. I mean,
Of course you do. That's
yeah,
adorable. Okay, so you've been a When Calls the Heart fan since when? Since season 6 you got hooked?
yeah. Since the season 6 Christmas special, so
Did you go back and watch 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
I did. Yes, although
I
I
know.
never actually watched them like all in order. I kind of
Okay.
would be like, oh, season 1, then maybe season 3. It's kind of like reading the Bible, where you watch the whole thing and then you read the whole thing and then you get to like that section where it's a little bit harder. Like season
Yeah,
2 is a little bit harder for some
right,
folks to get
right.
through. So I never like watched the whole thing consecutively, but I did go back and kind of went through it. But I have watched the whole thing, just maybe not consecutively. But
Right.
yeah.
So before Nathan and Allie came along, who would you say were your favorite characters?
You know what? It's funny because I loved everybody, and I think that's why the show really became my happy place, was because I
Yes.
loved everybody. But I think the character I was most drawn to was Lee. I absolutely loved Lee. I still love Lee. I call Lee my first When Calls the Heart love. I just love him. So
I have a
yeah.
Rosemary fan page.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I'm one of the admins. There's two other women that are with me, and we have these two great women that are moderators. We have a really good time, and it blew up too.
Oh my
We are
gosh.
approaching our 1 year anniversary. So anyway, that's me. We're not talking
That's a
about me.
big milestone. Yeah.
I know. All right. So you are very well versed. You know all about it. You're a fan. We love it. You're a Hardy. Do you identify as a Hardy? Do you call
Yeah.
yourself
Oh
that?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Do you know, I was I have watched it from the beginning, which I told you, all these years, and I didn't realize there was such a thing as a Heartie until
Yeah.
I was probably at season 6. And I'm like,
Same,
"Oh,"
honestly. Yeah.
like, I saw it somewhere and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a Heartie. I didn't even know I was a Heartie." And then I didn't even know about all the other stuff. Like, I didn't pay attention to it, like, on social media until, like, more recently. But, I know the storyline inside and out. Okay,
Mhm.
so now you've got your love of Kevin McGarry, right?
Yes. Yes.
And of course, we love Kayla too. And not because this is me, not because they're a couple. I just like them independently of each other,
Same.
right?
Yeah. I liked them both even before I knew they were a real life couple. So,
Right. Well, they weren't one at first when we first got to meet them.
right.
I loved Kayla's part right away. Fiona, she's first of all, she is as lovely a person, like well, not that I've actually physically touched her, but in a studio talking to her, like in her real
Hmm.
life. And she has the sweetest personality. Just like when she's on in the show, I know she on When Calls Her, she can have a little spiciness to her, but she still has this wonderful, do right, sweet, innocent, like, and that's how she is. She's so cute. She's just so
Oh,
cute. I
yeah.
love her.
I love watching her interviews. She's just always so sweet and so kind. And
And
yeah,
like
I just love her to death. Yeah.
real relaxed, so easy to talk to. I love her. She's great.
Hmm.
Okay, so this is their second movie together. Oh my gosh. Now,
Hmm.
what did you think of Feeling Butterflies?
You know what? I loved Feeling Butterflies because it was like very summery and it was
Mhm.
like a good time for it because we were just getting into spring and
Yeah.
I really wanted something that felt like a summer vibe kind of. So
Mhm.
it worked really well for me. But plot wise there were a few things where I was a little but that's all Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
always something. So yeah, but I
sometimes,
love the two of them together in that movie
yes.
as well.
And
Yes.
they're acting like, if all you're looking, I mean, an actor can't help what the script says or what a director says, right?
Hmm.
But they just bring, what they can to whatever they're being directed to
Oh
do.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
in that movie, I thought they were both wonderful. They really
Oh
were.
yeah.
I mean,
Oh
I love
yeah.
it. All right. So, what did you think about my grown-up Christmas list
Okay,
overall? Go
I went into this movie with high expectations,
ahead. Mm-hmm.
but it was even better than I thought it was going to be. And I watched it with my sisters who
Mm-hmm.
don't watch Hallmark movies that much, but they both loved it too. So,
That was good.
I mean, they did something right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. So they don't, okay, so they do When Calls the Heart, but they don't watch the Hallmark movies with you. You're like by yourself.
I kind of drag them into watching When Calls the
Okay.
Heart with me. Yeah. So they're kind of, involuntary participants, I would say.
I love
But
that.
they do it for me. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what did you think about, well, first of all, you're familiar with the song, right? Because we had said that
Hmm.
together. And
Yes.
I love Amy Grant. And they played the song 3 times.
They
3
did.
times. The
Yeah.
real version. Thank
I
you,
was
Hallmark.
so happy. Yes.
Yeah. They
Yes.
didn't cheap out.
They did not. Yes. It was not a
And
cover. It was actually Amy Grant.
I think Julie and Sarah from Suspenders Unbuttoned had addressed this. I think they were talking to Kevin. They may have said it to Kayla too, but they were talking about the song because we hadn't seen the movie yet,
Hmm.
and how we were hoping what, like, at least the original was in there with Amy Grant, and if not, why couldn't Kayla be singing it? Wouldn't that have been great? She's got
Oh
a
yeah.
gorgeous voice, right?
She does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
think that would have been fun too, for
uh,
sure. Yeah.
they
One
didn't
one
even
of
know.
these days we got to get Kayla to
We
sing.
want her to sing one of the songs. Okay, so what'd you think of like the whole Kevin, Kayla chemistry, their characters?
You know what? I feel like in my grown up Christmas list, they were really allowed to just like kind of unleash the chemistry, like in Feeling Butterflies, it was very like minimal, but in my grown up Christmas list, we had like the kisses and, just like the looks and you could just feel it even when they weren't even together. Like on screen when they're doing the Zoom calls and everything like that, you could just feel their connection.
It felt
And
organic.
yeah, it was so organic, so believable. And like I said, they were just like completely like unleashed chemistry in this movie. So I loved it. I thought it was great.
Talking about unleashed, I have something funny to say.
Oh.
So, in the first time they kiss, and it was a very chaste kiss, but the first time they kiss, when they go in for, like, she really goes in for the kiss, and he puts his eyes big,
I noticed that.
her, so then it's sort of like a kiss within a kiss. But he goes to kiss her back. Sorry, people out there, this is and I tweeted this out. His tongue, he didn't realize it, and they zeroed in and left it in. It's a closed mouth kiss. It touched her lips, and I was like,
oh no.
What are we breaking the rules? You got into the part you forgot. But they kept it in. It was cute. But what did they kiss 3 times in the movie, I think?
Yeah. I believe it was 3 or 4, something like that. I can't remember quite.
Well, then there was the wedding too, so maybe that was a 4th kiss. I'm sure somebody out there knows.
Somebody was keeping track. Yeah.
They have it written down.
Yeah.
Which was cute. That was cute. Actually, I thought the chemistry, everything, but when they were physical, like when they would kiss, I didn't think there was any like magic in it. I thought it would be different.
Really?
Yes. I think it's just the way, it's just how they kiss. It's just their own style or whatever. I thought it would be, I don't know, more passionate. Like when I watch movies with Tyler in them, he is like one kisser. He's like, it looks really real.
Yeah.
And it was funny to me because I thought it would be more intense. And I almost wonder, and it was something I would like to ask them, I almost wondered if they're afraid because they know each other so well. Because I remember Kayla saying sometimes you think because you know each other so well in real life that in person it would be easy, but it's not because you're not supposed to know each other. Right. So I'm wondering if sometimes they're holding back a little bit, like they don't realize they are, but I don't know. There's just my theory in my brain.
Yeah, that's totally valid for sure. Yes. And I could see how it would be hard working with someone you already know so well, just because like it's hard to make it different from what you do have in real life.
Yeah.
I guess, I can understand that for sure.
But they're good. When she came on, those first few scenes, like just with her, I was already crying.
I know. Yeah. The first scene, like the tone of it, like he's all like happy and jolly. And then you have her where she's literally like super duper sad, having probably some kind of like flashback of her mom. And it's just like heartbreaking. And then you have them both meet, and it's almost like, happy, jolly Santa, and then her, and she's very sad and like forlorn. And it worked so well. Like the tone for me in that first scene was just like really, Kayla was she totally knocked it out of the park for me.
She did. I love it. Someone I learned along the way, just recently, someone had said to me that you learn a lot about how the character makes their entrance into the movie. And I was like, oh, now I think about that constantly. And then I go back and I look at things. And so then when Luke makes his entrance, he's got his Santa suit on and he's standing there, and he's like all cool and cute and whatnot. And then as soon as she gets off the bus and she sits down, or is in that spot, she has that like real soft, sad, like immediately seriousness about her. And I was like, oh, okay, totally, opposites. And then they're going to help each other out and then find their way together, which makes for really great writing. What did you think of the plot? Like the whole timeline?
I thought it was good. The way I viewed it was very I was looking more for almost like nuggets. Like I was looking for good parts and good lines and good conversations rather than like a good linear story.
Sure.
So for me, it worked because I really liked how they covered so much ground in so little time. They had some really good conversations about being army wives and soldiers and leaving home and the sacrificial love that goes into that. So I really liked all of the ground that they covered with that. I mean, the plot could have been a little more, a little more trimmed down, I would say. But honestly, I was happy with the nuggets that I, got out of it. So I'd say overall, I was pretty happy with it.
And when you think about it, so it's either like, okay, they gave us, was it 3 years? How many years was the span of the movie?
I
It was
believe
a
it
couple
was
of years.
3, yeah.
So we've got the span of all those years and then the little pieces of them together along the way. Okay, this is how we get to know how they get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
Other than as opposed to when somebody blows into town and their vehicle broke down.
Right, exactly. Yes,
and then suddenly they're in love in 3 days. Do you know what I mean? This is like, this is supposed to be fun. This is Hallmark. Even if the storyline is serious, it's still supposed to be a wonderful experience for us.
Right.
So like when people start like hacking in stories up and dissecting them, I'm like, this is not like we can go to the movie theaters to see some motion picture. We're here for feel good, family, wonderful, friendly Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. I've seen way too many people, not just people, but like in general. My dad does this too sometimes, where he'll watch a movie and be like, oh, that was such a coincidence. I'm like, Dad, it's Hallmark. But like some people, they tend to look at these movies and I'm just like, guys, this is not a Christopher Nolan movie. This is Hallmark.
That's right.
Take it with a grain of salt, please. Yeah. So
But
I was okay with the plot. It made me feel good, which is the point of every Hallmark movie. So
and it was different. But
yeah, I liked the different years, which someone said in the chat it's actually 4 years, 4 or 5, something like that. But yes, I did like the different years. I felt like it was a little more believable to the relationship, and they really were able to explore it further than just like, oh, like she hurt my feelings, now I'm gonna like push her, for another like day or whatever, and then we'll get back together right at the end. It was, you got to go a little bit deeper than that, which I liked.
It was more of a realistic kind of a relationship. You meet each other, you're attracted to each other, and then sometimes people are turned off by them not, having to have like a long distance relationship, but they were willing to try it out. And, and they showed how that gets done. I mean, that happens a lot now, especially with everything that's going on in the world. So that part was different, but I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Same.
What, do you have a favorite, like you said, the nuggets, do you have like a favorite conversation?
Well, I feel like there was one that Kayla / Taylor and Luke / Kevin's mother had, where she was talking about, oh, I can't, I feel like I'm not even talking to him because he won't open up to me and he just wants to know about the little things. And Luke's mom says, yeah, well, it's the little things that give them something to hold on to because they miss home, and it keeps them going and reminds them why they want to come home and everything like that. So I really enjoyed that conversation. That was really, really deep level, talk there. And I really enjoyed that for sure.
I loved, what about the scene when they were in the truck?
Of course, yes.
Listen to the icy snow.
That was very icy snow. Yeah, everyone could hear that. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Kevin said that was they had to reshoot that. They were going to do it outside, and it was just the weather was so bad they did it inside. But anyway, I liked that they did it inside. I love that they were in that little space together and having that moment. And he was saying what he was saying, like trying to get her to like breathe and move on. I don't know. It was good. It was real.
Yeah.
It was a real conversation.
It was, yeah. And I really appreciated that one in particular for 2 reasons. One is that I love listening to the snow. And I've written about that in like stories and poetry and things like that, where it's just like, oh, the silent snowfall. Like, I love that. And then second is I love red trucks in the snow. Like, I'm in love with that image there. So yeah, I loved that scene too. I love the incorporation of just like, sitting there and taking in the stillness. I really enjoyed that. So
I love, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me. I love that we didn't just get an I love you and then it ended. And we just didn't
Yeah.
get an engagement and it ended. We also got
Right.
a wedding.
We
Like,
got a wedding.
we got
Yeah.
out of it.
Any Hallmark movie that ends in a wedding, in my opinion, is a success. Yes.
And here's me, when I was looking, the wedding was coming up, I was like, please don't make it be like in the wedding veil, where that I clocked it. That wedding was
Yeah.
literally 60 seconds on. I was like, what happened?
That was one of my problems with the wedding veil. I'm like, are you kidding me? That was like 30 seconds. Yeah.
I know, it was crazy. I was looking at, you're right, it was 30. I'm clocking. I'm like, I actually had to go back to see if I was crazy and pay attention and rewind and actually counted it. And I'm like, oh, nothing's perfect. Like, look, we're
Yeah.
the critics. Oh, we want everything to be just so wet. But
Right.
anyway,
Right. Yeah.
so tell me what you thought about the wedding. What were your thoughts?
You know what? I have to say, the wedding was one scene that I would have changed.
Okay.
I would have rather seen them marry in the base, because I love emergency type weddings where it's like, oh, we need to like do it quickly because he has to go back on duty or something like that.
Right.
I love like short notice weddings, I guess. And also, poor Kevin and Kayla looked absolutely frozen in that scene. I felt so bad. I was like, get them inside, please.
They had a
Yeah.
reshoot for it. Like, that was like crazy frozen toes and kind of things. I know.
Yeah, I was like, please get inside. You both look frozen.
And I was
So,
thinking,
2 reasons I wish it had been in the base. But
and
yeah, I thought the wedding was beautiful and the vows were beautiful. I just wish they had been a little warmer.
also, I was thinking to myself, the dress, her dress was beautiful. I mean, it was really beautiful. It was like silvery gray, or it looked like in it. But really, why couldn't they have found something a little more warmer?
Yeah, I was like, really? You're gonna put her in a sleeveless dress in the dead of like December in Ottawa? Like, no.
I think it was
not
I
a
know
good
it had
idea.
to be below for us. It would be below zero, and we have degrees. I don't know. They don't. I do not know how to calculate all of that. Don't.
Yeah. No.
I'm
I don't even want to know how cold it was. But when Kevin tweeted that it was the coldest day of his life, I was like, yeah, I can tell. You looked very cold.
It was so cold. So, were there anything else that you would have changed in the story?
You know what? I think I would have the part where she's at the base and she's like laying on the bed on a little cot, and they're kind of waiting there, and then she runs out when the siren starts blaring. I would have made the suspense a little bit longer so that she's like, it's not just like, oh, there he is, he's fine. It would have been like, oh, is he fine? Like, a few more soldiers come, and then she's like, oh, have you seen him? Like, is he fine? And then he comes, and like almost like a Jack and Elizabeth moment when he comes back from the Northern Territories.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not that long, but a little bit more prolonged. I would have prolonged that a little bit more.
I know.
But
there are. I agree. But it's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's not.
It's all right. Knows? Maybe it was, and they cut it. Who knows?
It could be. Yeah, it could be. Yes.
Just that they had it in there like that was cool. Now, a lot of people have issues with, and before I forget, I can see out the corner of my eye all the comments coming, and we will go back and address all of them we'll do that before we roll into our what we call the heart stuff, okay? And then we'll add that. So the military, the Army, the U.S. Army was a big part of this. And I know people were so upset because his hair was longer. Okay, fine. And it can be longer. I mean, I have military in my family. So it can be longer, especially if you're a higher rank, you're off duty or whatever. But because he was going back and forth the way he was and stuff, it really shouldn't have been. But as a viewer, who knows? Maybe he needed his hair longer for something else. We can overlook that. We don't. If that's the only thing that people are going to pick out, then
I think one thing I've noticed for anyone who had any negativity towards this movie, not all of them, because some people make valid points, but a lot of people just got fixated on the military inconsistencies. And I feel like when that's what you're focusing on, you miss the point, which is, like, it's showing the love between two people that are apart because, he's fulfilling his duty. And it is a big sacrifice. It's not just like, oh, I want to pursue my career. It's like he's actually, you know, working to protect her freedom, but also has to be away. And, you know, like they physically can't be together, but they still make it work. You know, I just feel like sometimes when people get caught up in the whole, you know, military aspect of like, oh, his hair needed to be cut or this was wrong or that, it's like, you missed the point. I mean, this is Hallmark, like we said before. So it's not going to be perfect, but you know, I can understand the complaints, but if that's like keeping you from watching the movie or appreciating the movie, then yeah, that's
it
too bad.
happens too when they like when they're showing a chef, they don't really show what a chef goes through. You know what I mean? Or when they're showing, they're always, you know, like have this great job. And I'm thinking, geez, no, a lot of time, or a teacher. I'm always like looking at the teacher's big, gorgeous home. And I'm thinking, I'm a teacher in New Jersey. We're paid very well. But I'm thinking, but not everybody is. And you have a really gorgeous house by yourself. How? You know what I mean? Like it's the fantasy part of it too.
Exactly. I mean, I used to be a librarian during college, and I watch Aurora Teagarden, and I'm like, that's not how you be a librarian, but I'm okay with it. It's okay. I'm not going to throw a fit and not watch Aurora Teagarden because it's not portrayed perfectly, you know, like, yeah.
Now, something I haven't said at all, and I have to say, besides the wonderful acting and chemistry between the two of them, my next favorite thing was it was Christmassy. It truly gave you watched it and it felt like Christmas. Like right when she's walking in the town. My town, I live in a small little Hallmark town. And my town, I texted one of my family members and I'm like, doesn't that look like our town at night?
Yeah.
Like, it does, kind of. Yeah, you know, ours a little bit more fancier. Like they put these other like lights and things that are out, but it's still very much. I'm like, I get the feel. I love it. And when sometimes it's supposed to be like a fall movie, and I'm thinking they taped on some leaves somewhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. I totally understand what you're saying there, because there's actually a small town where I live close by that's maybe like 15 minutes from my house, and I'll walk through there during Christmas time. It looks like my grown-up Christmas list during Christmas time. It does. And
does it snow? Does it snow there?
On occasion, yes. It does sometimes. We get some snow. I mean, obviously we're not driving in it when it's snowing, but it looks very, very pretty when the snow is there, and there's the lights and the windows, and it's gorgeous, just like in the movie. And I'm sure just like in your town too.
Right. Well, of course, they had snow. They had some real packed snow. If we had that snow here in the U.S., we wouldn't have anybody out on the street.
Right. Exactly. Nobody would be walking to the bus stop at 2 a.m. to go sit there. Yeah.
No, we don't have a day off.
Yeah.
What do you think about a sequel? Could we do a sequel?
I would like a sequel, and I think it is possible. I remember thinking after the movie finished, I was like, I want more now. Like, I want more of this. And I was like, hey, sequel, why not?
Sure.
And I was trying to figure out what they would do exactly. But I guess just like more of the, you know, their relationship, and then him being away and her kind of doing her thing. Maybe possibly her best friend finding love with Adam, maybe? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of cliche, but you know.
He could come for a visit. It could also be that he thinks he's like done. He's and then for some reason he has to go back on a special mission. He could be pregnant and doesn't have a chance to tell him.
Yeah. I like this.
Let him know. Her job, although her job is online, maybe it's a chance to take her somewhere else, and that keeps them apart. I don't know. I got a whole bunch of storylines. Who are we gonna pitch it to?
I don't know, but you got to pitch it to somebody, because these are great ideas. I love it.
We need a sequel. Actually, I would love a sequel. I think it would work. It would fit, and we want to learn more about them.
Yes.
So if you had to, I said hot cocos because I usually do hot cocos for my Christmas movies, but it's Christmas in July. We could have said frozen hot chocolates, but the point is it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. So one is like yuck. It was yucky. And
well, we all know it wasn't yuck, at least from my perspective.
Right, and that's what we want to know, your perspective. You're the authority tonight. And then number 2 is like meh, 3 is good, and 4 is delicious. What do you think?
I would say delicious. I loved it. It was the first Hallmark movie since The Presence of Love that I really was just like, yes, this is fantastic. I love it. Yeah. And I think it was because I enjoy Hallmark movies, especially when they have higher stakes. So it's not just like, oh, we're saving the family business, or oh, will he make it back in time for whatever. This one was actually like, he could die, or something could happen to him. He could never come home, but we're still going to give this a chance. Just like with The Presence of Love, it was like, it delved into her anxiety and things like that. It was like a little bit further of a level, and the stakes were a little bit higher. So I enjoyed it because of that, I think, mostly, but also just like Kevin and Kayla, awesome. So yeah, I enjoyed this particular Hallmark movie very much.
One of my friends, we were in the middle of watching it, and she sent me a message, and she goes, "Are you watching it because it's going to be one of your new favorites?" I'm like, "I'm all over it. What are you talking about? Of course I'm watching it." I'm taking notes.
See, I didn't get to watch it live, but I had so many people texting me, and they're like, "Oh, you're going to love this. This is amazing." I'm like, I need to watch it now. So yes, I even then, because people were texting me and telling me how much I would love it, then my expectations got even higher. So I'm like, what if I don't like it as much as they tell me I'm going to like it? But then sure enough, I loved it. So yeah, it beat the expectations.
That's good though. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing for sure. Yeah.
I'm looking at some of the things, and some of them are just comments. And if there's any questions, we'll address them too. So Brian's here. Hi, Brian. And he says, can't get enough of this stellar movie. Really outstanding. So
I'm with you, Brian. Yes.
Brian's given it 4 frozen chocolate.
I like your meter, the 4 hot chocolate. Yes, I like that.
Oh, good evening, everyone. Someone said hi. This is hi. We were saying hello to you earlier. She wasn't sure that she would be able to make it, and she did.
Yay!
We're all just saying hi to each other over here. But I know that I saw some comments and questions. Let's see there. Oh, this is nice. This is for you.
Aw, thank you, Nina Girl. That's really sweet. Thank you.
She puts her so therapeutic in both.
Well, it's funny because back after season 8, there was a lot of like uncertainty for my blog because, I was a Nathan fan. So after season 8, there was a lot of uncertainty and a lot of like frustration with everybody. So the lives kind of started as like, okay, we're going to work through this. We're going to talk about it. And we're going to kind of work our way to a place where we can all, move through it together, So yeah, so we like to call them therapy sessions sometimes, or at least we used to. I think we're beyond therapy at this point, but yes.
I know some people don't get this, but everyone here probably will get it. You actually get to make friends with people and then start your own little bond with them. And
it's true.
People are like, oh, it's a show. We're not delusional. We know it's a show, but it's also something that touches your heart because there's a message in it. You know what I mean? So I love that people bond and are together. And someone the other day was telling me that she and 3 other women have bonded, and they talk every single day.
Aww.
And they care about each other, and they who meets up with each other. I had the wonderful experience of meeting I know one of them is on with us now, of meeting 2 people that watch on my podcast all the time, and we talk and we chat and we get together at least once a month, and once a month is not enough, know. So I understand the therapeutic end of it. I love that.
Right. Aw,
that's
really so fun. Wow. I gotta do that sometime. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
She says, do you identify as a Heartie? Is actually a really good question these days. It is.
That is true.
Yeah. And I know some people don't. I mean, I think the term has almost changed a little bit. Sometimes because of the way certain people treat other people, I'm almost afraid to say I'm a Heartie. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna my own definition, and I'm gonna always
Yeah.
Heartie. You know,
That's totally fair. That is totally fair. And I totally understand the fear behind it, because so many things have like a different meaning now than it did originally, just because of some of the division, which is unpleasant sometimes, but you know, we work through it. We make it work, you know.
we have to put on our you know, I was gonna say, I don't know if I should say it's rated PG kind of thing. We have to put on our maturity clothes.
Yes, this is true. Yes.
Sharon says, I love Kayla and Kevin, love them together. They are. They're just really good. And it's not because they're a couple. They're good by themselves because we've seen them, you know, separately. They're just excellent actors and musicians and singers. They're just very talented.
They're so talented. Yeah. They really are.
Yes. We agree with you 3 times.
Yes. 3 times. I was shocked they played it 3 times. And when it started playing, like when they were dancing in that scene, I was almost like, please play it a little longer.
This was good. The dance scene was really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I appreciated that they took their time with that and really were able to, you know, get the feelings going with, you know, just, you know, the conversation beforehand was great also, but that led into the dance scene, which is definitely one of my favorites of the movie.
Remind me, is it, because I've watched quite a few movies, like I was tweeting and everything for Campfire Christmas. I just
totally.
So many people on. Remind me, is after they dance together? Is that when he kisses her on her forehead?
Yes, it is.
I love a good
super
forehead.
Cute. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That is the moment. Yes. I love that scene. That's a great scene.
Brian, you never heard the song before, and we love Amy Grant too. We were talking about this in the studio. She has a Christmas album. It's like an older one, but my family plays it even in the summer. We celebrate Christmas in July, so we play Christmas music all the time, especially the album by Amy Grant, and the songs in there are amazing. And it's funny because there's one song, and the lead into it is literally her quoting something that's from the Bible. And which I know, but then I quote that like that. I feel so scholarly when I'm able to do it. It's just because
right, exactly. Yeah. Which song is that? Remind me, because we have an album too, and it sounds familiar, but remind me.
You know what? Off the top of my head, I can't remember what the title of the song is. I'll tell you when I get done.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds vaguely familiar because my family, we have an album too that we would listen to like all the time.
Right.
We still have it somewhere and we still listen to it. So
it's of course, unto us a son is born. I don't think that's the title of it though. That's what she's quoting, all of that first. And then she gets into the song.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you. Personification of heart eyes when they look at each other. Love that bridge scene. Oh, she's loving the bridge scene. I think Julie from Julie, she's from Suspenders Unbuttoned. She tweeted out about the bridge scene, and I think Kayla even retweeted it. Yeah.
Aww.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Arlene saying Kayla has really shined in both movies, The Butterfly and this one. Would love to see her in more leading lady roles. She has had other roles on other channels. She had a really cute Christmas movie this past Christmas that came out, but it was on what channel was that on?
Lifetime, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so she was stuck in a snowstorm at the house with the children that she was like a governess almost for, right?
Yeah. I still haven't seen that one, but it looks really cute. Yeah.
It's good. And of course, she's been not as a lead, but she's been in other Hallmark movies before. Yes, I do like that. She has to get more leads. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, she does. She's very, very good.
Of course, she loves the kisses. Hallmark don't let it go too far. This is true. I agree with you.
That is fair.
But I've seen kisses that look like they went a little too far.
True.
Emily's agreeing with us. She's like, I love their kisses. I felt the passion and desire, but I think they needed to play it down for the purpose of
That's fair. And sometimes you got to find the in between where it's like, we don't want it to be too much, but then also not too little. I mean, I'm sure it's just you know, they're trying to figure out the happy medium, I guess, you know.
So I love this. Julie is saying this. She's saying this is Kayla's time to shine. She's a rising star. I have it's almost like an inside story, but I'm going to share it because I don't think it's that bad to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I was part of a group text, and it was all the characters and everyone together, and we were trying to organize. Wasn't easy. It was almost like trying to get the butterflies and organize them.
Mm-hmm.
Organize an event for the Feeling Butterflies. And everybody was responding, and everybody was saying what time they were available, and everybody was open to everything except for Kevin. He said nothing.
Of course, yeah.
And I was like, you're a real pain in the neck. So I'm thinking, well, you're probably with Kayla. They were traveling. He's
probably just like, oh, respond for me.
Yes, and hop on for her. But later on, the real reason is that he's in love and such a gentleman. She was lead. She had first lead. So when in Feeling Butterflies, she was first. He was second.
Right.
He wanted her to just shine and get to make the decisions and be first for everything. So I was thinking, oh, I love that. I'm okay with it now.
Yeah, I forgive you, Kevin. Yeah,
he was there though. He's just so cute and supportive with her. He's like, you have to love him just for that.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I felt the chemistry more in Christmas List. They were so cute together. Kayla's a fantastic actress. Okay.
She is.
Grammy Rose.
She continues to impress me with each of her new projects.
I wonder if they are getting more comfortable on screen now that they're supposed to be lovers. What? Now that they're married.
Yes.
I
was confused for a minute. Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely sense that in Christmas List they were more comfortable, I would say, at that point.
Yeah.
But at least being leads together, because they've done When Calls the Heart and all of that, but never like together on screen, I guess. Because even in When Calls the Heart, they have very few scenes together, which makes me so sad. I want more scenes with them for obvious reasons.
But wait, when they are together, they have the greatest scenes ever. Like, not last season, but the season before, where she grabs him, she's like, put him in jail.
She's like, come on. And he's like, oh, okay.
And he's looking at her. And then the scene where, she takes his food and eats it, and he's like looking around. I'm like,
he's
yes,
like,
you need
excuse me? Yeah. Yes, we need, even if they're just friends, I need more of them together on screen, because like you said, their scenes are the best. I mean,
they are. They're good.
Yeah, they're so funny.
I love that the movie took place over 4 years, not falling in love in a week. Like we said that.
Right.
All right. This is for you. She's so happy to see you.
Yeah, this is like my first face reveal for a lot of people. So,
that's so nice.
Happy to see you too, Andrea.
As stupid as it sounds, and Roxanne knows how I feel, I find Kevin's hair distracting. Other than that, I thought it was good. And we talked about that. And I get it. Yeah.
That's fair. I guess it's kind of like in Wedding Veil, a lot of people found the Boston accent a little bit distracting too. Which I can understand. At first, it's a little jarring for a military movie where it's like, oh, he doesn't look military. But you think about it with even with A Tale of Love with Chris, he's military in that movie as well, but he doesn't have a shaved head. He doesn't have a shaved head.
No, he doesn't have. You have to have a shaved. He didn't have a shaved head. He did have very short hair, though. He did cut his hair.
True. Yeah. Yes.
And and he was off duty at the time, but it was real short.
Okay. Gotcha.
Whatever. And he wore his military boots every single day. I don't know any man that would do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Think out of those.
I mean, they just look uncomfortable.
Costuming. Come on, costuming. Whatever.
Get the man some flip flops.
That's funny. Oh goodness. Remember we were talking about the reshooting. It says they had to reshoot the wedding, but the truck was supposed to be outside. Yep. That's what we had said. Good, Emily.
Yeah.
Emily took notes. She must be down watching everything.
Yeah, somebody's been doing their research.
What's Julie saying about the military part? It was integral to the plot and it should have been researched more. Other than that, the storyline was sweet and powerful to anyone who has experience being separated by assignment. Yeah.
That's totally fair. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But see, you're able to appreciate the plot and not just be like, oh, it was trash because they didn't do the military piece. But I totally respect that you wanted more research on that, because I know I get frustrated sometimes, even with When Calls the Heart, at some historical inaccuracy. So I understand that for sure.
Yes and no. Like we can't, like some people just, like you said, fixate on something when the real story is just about them loving each other and at a distance.
Right.
And we have to suspend reality a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
What's this? If they planned an indoor wedding, Bonnie said something about coming out after the ceremony, but because they had to postpone it at the last minute, they had to do it outside. Okay. She's explaining what had happened. Okay. And then just attention was on the emotion. Oh, yes. Andrew, who was the director. He said the attention was on the emotions, which totally worked, in my opinion. Yep.
Yeah. That totally worked for me, because the emotions definitely are what hit me, when I watched the movie. So it was less about, like some people are saying, like the military aspect isn't like, oh, his head wasn't shaved or whatever. It was more about like, what are both of them feeling in this situation and how are they going to deal with it? And, just something comforting, especially for people who have dealt with this kind of situation as well and have lived it,
Yeah. Actually, it was good. It was delicious. It was a delicious hot cocoa or frozen hot chocolate.
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
indeed.
All right. So those of you that want to get a drink, take a bathroom break. We only got like a minute here. We're switching gears. We're going to talk about what is your wish list for season 10? Okay. Did you see they're starting to get in their, getting fitted? We saw some of the girls.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And I want to know what your wish list is for the Grants, for Nathan as well as Allie. And we're inviting all of you over here to add your wish list over to the side. I did a wish list for season 10 with like a hearty pajama party. But I like it. I like it when I have somebody on that is really a true fan of a specific character. So I like to hear what their opinion is. So I'm excited to hear what you think or would like for. You want to go with Nathan first?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's hear it.
I have 4 main things that I would like to see, 3 of which are like big plot points, and then 1 is like more like a little thing that I'm hoping for. But for Nathan, number 1, I really need to see more Nathan and Allie scenes, because we got the great, like she called him dad scene and everything. That was fantastic, but that was like pretty much it. That like they didn't really have any other scenes together like on their own. Like there was always like another character there or something like that. So I would love to see more of like just them and their relationship, and also like how he deals with her like growing up, and maybe how she deals with him, maybe finding new love, something like that. So that is a big must for me, because those 2 are my favorite duo on the show. They're incredible.
You're not alone. A lot of people have been saying that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your number 1. Okay. What's your number 2?
So number 2 is kind of obvious. Nathan finds love, finally. I mean, I know for me personally, I'm a fan of Nathan in the sense that I almost feel like he's like my comfort character. So I just want him to be like happy, and I want him to find happiness, and I want him to like, reach a point where, life is good, So I would just love for him to find love with someone who makes him happy, and just like have a little fun, just go on some dates, do some fun stuff. I'd love to see some passion in that relationship too, like some real sparks. I know, like, Nathan's a passionate guy. I mean, he's like a arms out, like, I'm in love with you type guy. So I would really love to see that in whatever relationship he might be, about to enter or whatever in season 10. I would really love to see those kind of like passionate moments, that spark where he's really allowed to feel that, like feel that level of passion, I guess. And then for my number 3, unless you want to comment on what I just said.
No, I'm listening. I love it all.
Okay.
I'm listening, taking it
Yeah.
on.
Okay. And then number 3, there's more Mountie action. Bill did a lot of it in season 9, but it's probably because Nathan was still recovering from the automobile accident, but he's better now. He's ready to do Mountie action. So I'm ready to see some more gunslinging and, crime fighting and whatever. I love it when he's in Mountie mode. That's what we like to call it, Mountie mode.
I agree with that. I absolutely. I'm like, hello. Okay. So I do remember, and this is true. The writers saying this, and because I had chatted with some of the writers, and even Kevin had said this, that the whole reason for his character and for Lucas's character to come on in season 6, I've lost where I was, is because they were to facilitate that a love story for Elizabeth, that she was ready to love again and move that forward. And neither of their characters at first would be fully explored. It would take a while. And then when they decided what direction they were going in, we would explore that character a little bit more. And he said that's what this year was for him, for his character. It was a transition year, finding out more about him. Well, that's great. I'm like, I'm glad we found out about him. Nice. That's nice. But let's move on. Like, come on, dive.
Yeah, it's like very nice. Okay, let's move on.
Yes, I want you to dive in. I want him to have scenes with Allie. I'm with you. I need for him to he's a Mountie. Can he do Mountie stuff?
Exactly. It's like, let him do his job, please.
What was it? It was season 8. All he did was run back and forth. Remember, he said, what did they use the key to the jail? He was always leaving to go and we never saw anything. We did in the very beginning with the brother-in-law, like that very, very beginning.
And so, that storyline, I wish they had carried it like a few more episodes. I was like, please, I want to see more of this.
Well, I don't remember who said this recently, but this is a great idea. Wouldn't it be great if he comes back, he escapes jail, and Allie she doesn't even know about it. She gets to meet him. There's like a redemption arc with him, like a deathbed confession kind of thing,
Yeah, and then we finally get to find out how Nathan's sister died, because we still don't know how that happened.
Someone had suggested flashbacks, somebody play her, and we have flashbacks of her, and I was like, oh.
I love these ideas.
Yes, these are good ideas, right? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and you said you had a little one.
I have one more. This one's more minor, but we know there's going to be a wedding for Lucas and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there'll be a reception. If it's, if it's not a big ceremony, I'm assuming there'll be some kind of reception.
Yeah.
But my wish is, please let Nathan have a +1 this year. Please. He's been to too many weddings by himself. He needs a +1. I'm single myself, so going to weddings a lot of the time is like, oh, I wish I had a +1 to enjoy this with. So I've watched Nathan go to too many weddings and events where he's by himself. I really want him to have a +1 this year.
He might have a lot of +1 choices.
True.
So what are you thinking about? Someone had asked that. Let's go back. I start a few things so we wouldn't miss them. I'm going to put this one on. Do you have a preference on which character Nathan should be with?
Oh,
and if
that's a complicated question, but I will say I see potential for both of them. But at this point, I prefer Faith, just because they actually had a spark during the infirmary scene. And I see a lot of potential with the Mountie doctor storyline. I see a lot of potential there. But that's not to say I don't think May and Nathan could work. May, we literally know pretty much nothing about her.
Right.
And that is hard for me. And also she's kept a lot of secrets from him. It's one thing to keep one secret from somebody. It's another to just keep your entire self from somebody. So I would struggle with that. I think that would definitely be something she'd have to overcome before they got together. So I don't know. I have pros and cons for each one, but the end of season 9 left me leaning towards Faith, I would say. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
So I want to hear your opinion.
All right. So my opinion. I really don't care. I love the character of May. I think she's fun, interesting, different. I love Faith. I love Faith. I've loved her from the first day she blew in, in Hamilton. And then when she got to come over to, I love, and she's always struggled to find like a love interest. It was just never right for her.
Right.
I don't know what the writers have in store, so they might come up with some fabulous things. But if I were to judge from right now, I would not choose either of them.
Same. If I were to judge right now, I wouldn't prefer either of them. Faith is the one I'm leaning towards, but I definitely would prefer a third option as maybe someone new coming in, or Fiona, or whatever. They're not my first choice.
Right.
If it's limited to the two of them, I would choose Faith, but they are both not my first choice. That's what I would say.
There are a couple of things and theories that are out there. I'm going to show you Chris here. Christine, this is Chris. I know Chris. Not that she's not the only one, but a lot of people have said, what about bringing Julie in? And that is, that's Charlotte Hegley, and she's Elizabeth's sister, and she's like wild and
right.
And she, last time we saw her, she was becoming a teacher. There would be that whole Mountie teacher thing, a little different though.
True.
And and I was like, oh, that could be fun and interesting, right? I mean, but whoever it is, I want them to be like drives him nuts, spicy, and a
I want them to have romantic tension, as in like butting heads a little bit. I don't want it to just be like a walk in the park. I want it to be a little bit like push pull type thing. You know
how Lee and Rosemary are?
Yes.
Kind of like that, because Lee is sarcastic, and he came, like when we first met Nathan, he always says he's like Kevin Costner in The Bodyguard, that silent kind of, and he said but he's changed. Now you can see he's sarcastic. He would do his cute dad jokes with his daughter, but he started to like pick on Elizabeth, which I love, and it's funny, and he's quirky, and I love it. And I think that I don't know, he needs somebody that is, I don't know, he needs someone who's going to challenge him. And someone said, this is interesting, we always hear about Jeanette, and if she is a younger woman and we get to meet her, she now, because when the writer Allie was on, she was explaining that because Jeanette was taken advantage of as a widow, and and blah blah blah, now she decided to take things in her own hands. She's joined like the CIA version of whatever it was back then, secret stuff, and she's out and about. And I thought, wouldn't she be a pain in his neck coming in?
I mean, she definitely would. I would say my one complaint with if Jeanette was the one would be that her romance with Nathan would take a back seat to her connection with Lucas. So almost like the story of her and Lucas and like what they've been through and everything like that, it would be great. But at the same time, it would kind of be the main focus. And then her falling in love with Nathan would kind of just be a happy side effect, which I totally, I understand the potential. I totally do. Yeah. But my fear would be that it would become, oh, Jeanette's back in town, and Lucas and Jeanette are always going to like be meeting in secret, but then she just happens to fall in love with Nathan, and it's kind of like a little side story. My fear would be, I don't want Nathan's romance to be a side story, like,
Well, that's true. But the thing
yeah.
about they wouldn't be meeting in secret because there are no secrets. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no, I
no,
didn't mean
no, no.
that.
I'm
I just
saying
meant generally. Yeah.
no, so I don't know. I think they could do it right, but who knows? But then she would have to be a character that stays, and I don't know how many more new people are going to be staying, you know?
That is true too. Yeah. There's so many people. Yeah.
Figure it out. Now we're gonna have babies back on because
Oh
Rosemary's having
gosh.
a baby. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
It's a logistical nightmare. Yeah.
Gosh. All right, let's see. Let's see some of these. We're winding down here. Some of their comments. May had a lot of potential, but keeping so much of Nathan wasn't endearing, especially when he was so vulnerable with her. But I don't love Faith either. She's too fickle. I this could cause a war, but I want to point out something here, and I'm a detail person. She kept that secret. She kept one secret only from him, and she kept it from everyone because of her. It was for her life. She feared for her life. So I give her a pass on that. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan kept many secrets for many years from Elizabeth. That was his personality, and that's how he was. He didn't open up to people. And I could list all kinds of secrets that he kept. One being the big one that they made up at the end, where I know that was Kevin and Elizabeth's idea of, he was there, why the story of why he was supposed to be the one on duty and he wasn't.
Yeah.
That secret.
I don't think anybody liked that storyline.
Yeah, okay, that came from
Like,
where that came
really?
from.
Ooh.
I know. And then there was a secret like at Christmas time where he didn't want to tell anybody that he had the opportunity to go. And then there was just a whole list of things. And that's his personality. So he was not one to be much of a sharer. So that part, I'm sorry, Niner girl. I'm not going to agree with you on the secret stuff. But
I think my main problem with May was when Nathan opened up to her and then she went and told Bill. I was like, girl, you can't keep secrets, but then go tell someone else's secrets to somebody else. I'm like, now he can't really like safely confide in her, I guess. It just feels like the trust was broken a little bit. And I'm kind of like, he can't really open up without that nagging fear in the back of his mind that, oh, maybe she might tell somebody what I just told her.
That's true.
Which I'm not saying that's a deal breaker. I'm just saying,
well, that's something they'll have to work out.
It's something they'll have to work out if they're put together. May's just, I have issues with both options, and it's not limited to that. It's like both of them, Faith and May. They're not my favorite choices. So, hopefully.
Stephanie my friend. All right, Stephanie, you and I are good friends now because we need a third option.
Stephanie.
I'm with you.
Third option.
And you know what? I don't like it when that's what it's all about is somebody's love interest. I want it to be about the whole person, like the more Mountie stuff. I don't want it to suddenly be about Nathan's love life. Like make it like more than just that.
Yeah. And that's totally understandable. I would love for it to happen organically, if that makes any sense. Like I wouldn't just be like, oh, there's two options. Pick one, Nathan. It's like I would love for him to have instant attraction to somebody, who comes to town or something like that. I mean, obviously, there's too many characters already, but one more, please. Yeah, so I don't know. For me, Nathan seems like the type of guy where he needs to have instant attraction to somebody, like either instant attraction or friends first and then work towards something. But, I could be wrong.
Who knows? We have all these wonderful ideas. All of them are wonderful. If they write a good story for each one of them, they would be wonderful. Like either way. Arlene says, I hope they focus on Nathan being a father to Allie foremost. And I agree. Maybe see Nathan build other male friendships, Lucas, Mike, Joseph, whoever. And he does have, this is true. But he does have good male friendships. But I agree. Like you had said, that more of them together, him being a dad. This is what the show is all about. We have a lot of single parents. I mean, you think of all those women. Molly, single mom. That's what the first stories were about, trying to make it as a single mom. Then we also had, we have Florence, single mom again. Even Ned, he was a single dad because his wife had died. Elizabeth, single mom. Now we have Nathan. Like, we need to explore that more. I agree. Do you have any wishes for Allie? Like, what would be something cute? Because she's getting older.
I think, you know what? I would love for Allie to do something that's like her thing, you know, like I want her to like tap into some kind of like talent or something like that. I've always loved the idea of Rosemary possibly starting an after school theater program and then possibly Allie joining that and becoming a singer possibly because we know Jada likes to sing. I would love for Rosemary to mentor her in that, you know, kind of program, and plus it would have lots of funny storylines, especially with pregnant Rosemary. But you know, I think it would be hilarious, but also but also like
it's good.
Really,
It's good.
yeah. I think it would be fun for Allie to have something that's like her own thing to do, you know. I don't want her to become another job hopping character. You know, we've got like 5 of those already. I want Allie to have her thing, you know?
Yeah, I like it. I like that idea. Okay. All right. And she's getting older too. Like, you know, we got Anna who's staying. I love that. And we were all wondering who's going to stay up above in the, you know, the house that or apartments above the cafe.
True.
And here's Anna. But who else? I mean, there's more than one room because I'm curious, where do all these people live? I thought for the longest time, and I know we're getting sidetracked here, I thought that Bill, because there is a place to live upstairs over the judge's chambers, because that was the mayor's office. That's where Henry was. I mean, I remember Abigail standing outside and looking up, and, you know, they showed some of up what the upstairs was like with the fire roaring and all that good stuff when he was injured.
Oh, and right. Yes.
So I thought Bill lived up there. And then just recently in the last season, Lucas, Henry and Bill were all in his chambers talking, and it was in Fiona, and he goes, "It's late. Let me give you a ride home." And
Lucas is like, "Oh, let me drive you home." I'm like, "Where do you live, Bill?"
I thought it was the steps. What do you mean? I thought you just had to walk
like,
upstairs.
where have you lived this entire time? Do you have a home? I don't know.
And it's funny because when I ask those questions to like the writers or the directors or something, they're the one thing where they're like, "We really don't know. Let's not talk about it." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah. It's like, come on now.
It gets cut out of the questions. I'm like, all right.
Oh gosh.
Stephanie and Emily, I see your comments. I'm looking at them having their own conversations over here. Not being a sharer and keeping secrets are 2 different things. You are correct, and we don't need to have like an argument over it. But those just, you know, sometimes we love a character so much that we don't pay attention to all of the details. Everyone is like, everyone does this. Everyone, they love their character. Their character's their character. This is what they want, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, even Jack kept secrets, and you know, even the best of them kept secrets. So you know, Bill kept the secret of Nora, like his wife.
They all come in with the secret.
They've all got something. There's always a skeleton in the closet.
Even who came in with a secret? Carson. Remember, we didn't know about Carson's life.
Yeah, and Faith as well. You know, her dad was estranged to her. And, you know, everyone's got a secret. And once you come to Hope Valley, they're going to get that secret out of you. That's just the way it works. I mean, even Lucas has some secrets too. So, you know.
Yeah.
And does Elizabeth have any secrets?
No.
Well, she's the main character.
She's the main character.
Really,
People get upset. People say it's an ensemble cast. It's that. It is. It has grown into that. But it is ultimately her story. And when I had Derek on and he was talking, I said, "What is it that when you first sit down to write a story, what is central in your mind?" And he said, "Elizabeth." I look at Elizabeth and then everybody else and how they would revolve around her, how she interacts with them. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So he was just sharing his thought process of when he writes his stories. Listen, Emily, I hate
I think we can all agree on that.
Let's do more of that. Like, how could you even hint at that? And
How
it
could you even think that was a good idea? Like
Hallmark
literally,
again.
I mean, all of Nathan fans hate triangles anyway, but the worst way to resolve the triangle is with another triangle. So logic, guys, please, no, don't do that.
You know what? Somebody, I think it was Emily, or no, somebody was saying yes. Okay, and okay, this is so true. When you were talking about Rosemary and all that, that she is a daughter of a Mountie, yeah, and that could be a really good relationship. And Rosemary can give Allie some advice. And you know what else? I mean, that would be I would love that.
Oh
And then
yeah.
also, someone's over here saying, "What about Allie? Writing for the newspaper? There's just like so many because she is a really good writer, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be cute." All
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I think I hate to say this, but after season 9, I think I've had my fill of newspaper storylines. Like, let's take a break
And
for a
weave
little
it in.
while.
I'm looking, if they were going to keep the newspaper, I'm looking for it to be like an avenue to other things. Like,
Yeah,
I was
like the
expecting,
etiquette column with
yes,
Molly.
yes. Or getting into trouble, like you're doing investigative reporting and it puts somebody's life in danger, or you
Right.
undercovered something or whatever. And they didn't use it like that at all. They used it for Lee trying to figure out who he was.
Yeah.
So I know who Lee is.
Uh, yeah. I mean, it's been 9 years. I think we know who Lee is.
I know.
I don't know.
The part with Allie, they said they put too much focus on Allie. Well, here's the thing about that. You also, well, she had a big storyline, and rightfully so. I mean, that shows the relationship with Elizabeth and also with Nathan, and even, I mean, she's with her relationship with Florence, her relationship with Mr. Wolf. What is his name on the show? Robert. Robert.
Mm-hmm.
I knew his couldn't think of his character name.
We could just call
So
him Wolfie from now on.
yeah, I know. So I get that. I'm okay with it, but also we have to realize we're still coming out of that pandemic, and there's limited scenes with different, younger cast and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see more. I
Yeah.
really hope we see more.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Allie would be great as a vet, and May would be a great mentor since May did so well with Nathan's horse. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
All
I would
right.
love for May to become I mean, maybe not officially, but I would love for May to become a therapist in Hope Valley. I think that would be
Mm.
really fun because she knows a lot about trauma for some reason, which we haven't figured out yet. But, she really did a good job giving Nathan advice on
Mhm.
stuff and like walking him through his trauma after the, accident and everything. And I
Yeah.
really think Hope Valley could use a good therapist just because so much stuff happens all the time. So, yeah.
I know. I know. Well, that's a good idea. I never even thought of that. I love that idea.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so what do you have planned for your blog before we close out? What's going on? What's coming up?
Um, trying to think. Well, one thing I've been trying to focus on since season 9 started, and I told you about this earlier, but I'm trying to be more, positive, but also,
Hmm.
like I like to share my opinion just because, I like to be honest and authentic, but
You
at the same
should. You
time,
absolutely
yeah,
should.
yeah. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I do like to keep things upbeat and
Hmm.
positive. So maybe just some posts in the future about some of my hopes for season 10 and,
Hmm.
specific characters, not just Nathan, but other
Hmm.
characters as well. Maybe the Coulters and, you know, May,
Hmm.
even Fiona. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of characters to go through since
Hmm.
there's so many, but that gives me more material. So
Do you know people sometimes, and that's true, but it's also nice when we have people that focus on a certain character or a
mm-hmm.
family, because then you really pay attention to all of the
Right.
details, and that's nice. You become like an authority on that character or whatever, which is a nice thing. No one should have to apologize for that or think that, not that I'm saying you are, but I look for that. That's why I'm always looking oh, that's a good perspective. We need that perspective. If we all get on and we're all talking and we're all in agreement, that's boring. We need to hear from everyone, you know?
Aw, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate that, because I've been told it's tough sometimes being a Nathan fan, because a lot of times, sometimes people just assume they're like, oh, you hate the show, or oh, you hate, Lucas and Elizabeth, which is not true. And people just make assumptions immediately when they hear I'm a Nathan fan. Yeah. And I would like everybody to know I am a Heartie. I'm not, like anti the show. I'm not like, anything like that. I love the show. It's just that Nathan's my favorite. He's, he's my comfort character. He's my boy. So, just because I care about his well-being the most doesn't mean I don't care about the rest of the show.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you. I really appreciate that, Roxanne. Thank you so much for saying
important.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always think that I love Elizabeth. I mean, I love Erin Draco. I mean, like when I met her, I cried like a dum-dum. And it's one camera. My family took video of it and it's out there for everybody to see me crying. And when I met her, she's like, oh, we have a crier. I'm like, oh, you announced it to everyone.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's so funny.
That's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So, but like I said, this is good, and we can all have our own opinion. And then, we the only thing I always say, because this comes from like like as a teacher, when people are talking about a storyline and they're talking about something and they think one thing happened, and I'm like, okay, well, can you show me all the things that support that? And they can't. Then I'm like, okay, well, then I'm not listening to that. We're going to move on.
Right. I totally agree with you on that. Yes. I like to my students. Yeah. Like, there's this rule of thumb, I call it, where I'm like, if it didn't happen on screen or in the show, then it's not canon technically. So people might tell me, oh, I'm sure she or he thought this. And I'm like, didn't happen on screen. Sorry. Right. Yeah.
It's true.
Well, yeah. So I like to follow that rule of thumb.
I'm going to show these last three and then we can say goodnight. Okay, this is Brian. Brian said, I would like to see all of the young cast used more. Yes, like the earlier seasons. Love totally Elizabeth's classroom scenes. I agree.
And one thing I would like to add to that is I really hope they use Opal more, but I also hope that they let her mature a little more.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes they play her a little too young or make her seem a little too young, which in season 9 they didn't do. I was happy about that. So I'm hoping we get to see Opal mature more.
Ava is adorable. I love her.
She is. I love her.
Yes. So I've had multiple chats with her. I love that chat. I love that young lady. She and her brother are so smart and talented. Their family's lovely and they're so humble. Because I remember when I was first talking to him, like, when you go to school, is everybody like, oh, here they are? And they're like, no, we would never even want that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good thing. Of course we have to do, And then I love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that.
Being raised right, that's for sure. Sure. Yes. You remember you were saying like the therapist? I think that's what you're saying. Carl, I'm sorry, Carl, I might be saying this incorrectly, but I think that's what he was meaning. That was like always Abigail's job was to be like the therapist. And
that is very true. Yeah. Frank was Abigail's therapist. So I miss Frank.
I've been, because it's season 10, it's the 100th episode. I've reached out to old favorites of ours to have on, and I started having them on. I had Julie on because we haven't seen her in a while, and I reached out to the actor that plays Frank. I haven't. I've gone back and forth. It's like trying to figure out something. I would love to have him on to talk.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he realizes how many people love and miss him.
I don't think so either. I tagged him in a post about Frank that I posted maybe a couple weeks ago, and he liked it. So I guess maybe when Calls the Heart is back on his radar. I don't know. So I'm hoping. I'm like, please, Mark Humphrey, please. Just
Thank you for sharing that. That's good news.
Yeah.
All right, Miss
So
Emily. Emily was like dominating over here. She says, while
that's good.
season 8 ending was not my favorite, When Calls the Heart has a special place in my heart and always will, especially
That
Nathan
is
and
true. That is very
True.
true. And I'm
I-
hoping this year with season 10, Nathan will get a happy ending to season 10. Hopefully, if he finds a love interest. So we can always hope for more.
Listen, if they don't, then they're done.
I quit. Just kidding. No. Yeah.
I said this was the last one, but Stephanie has a question. She says, "What do both of you think or hope is the first episode of season 10?"
Oh.
That's a good. Thank you, Stephanie, for that question. It's a great thing to end with.
I'm assuming there will be some wedding planning, and I don't know. Ooh, that's so hard. I'm trying to remember what happened in the finale. That was like a cliffhanger.
That's the thing. That is the thing. There weren't that many cliffhangers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, the biggest cliffhanger would be when Molly got out of the car and ran over
to it was like, hey, Faith, guess what? And it's like, what?
What? Did you elope with Bill on the way back?
I don't know if I would call it a cliffhanger, but we were getting, well, I guess Bill's health is also something as well. And Henry, is he going to go to jail? Is he going to stay? We don't know about that. But
I'm almost wondering, because they said this, where she said, about my parents wanted you to, Elizabeth said to Lucas, come and meet my family and whatnot. I'm wondering if we'll have them seeing, like, meeting each other. And I'm wondering if we'll get a Christmas episode, because
we definitely could. I think that might be fun. Yeah. Definitely could.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's not impossible.
So I think if ever that it would be, I'm thinking it would be this year. And I've counted the episodes. I asked Peter and he didn't respond. I don't think he responded. I would have to look.
I think we're at 95 right now.
Right. So when
we're 94.
When I counted 97. And
really?
Yes, that would mean we were 3 in, but even if we're not, even if it is like 95, it's going to be in the beginning. The 100th episode is going to be in the beginning.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wish does not happen is I don't like it when the whole season is about somebody's wedding.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that too. I was hoping that Lucas and Elizabeth's wedding would be not like first episode early, but maybe like the 3rd or the 4th. Because then I would hate to sit through an entire season of wedding planning. I love wedding planning, but it gets boring really fast. Really fast.
I agree with you, and I'm hoping it's early on and we get to see married life and we can move on with that. I would rather see more the married life than the wedding. We know what's going to happen. We're done. It's good. Yay. Ooh.
Exactly.
Yeah. So make it happen. And I also think that first episode, if it's not central to Christmas, I really do think we're going to get some like court scene stuff. I really think we'll,
for like Henry, you're talking,
or the stuff with Walden Wyman. I mean, I don't know. I
mean, I'm personally hoping that the guy who hit Nathan gets locked up again. Like, that guy should not be on the loose. So I'm hoping somehow they are able to get him locked up. But I would love to see some court cases with Wyman Walden. I love Wesley. He's great.
He's a great human.
He is. Yeah. He is. And also Paul is great too. I interviewed him. He's so funny.
Paul Green?
No, Paul, I'm forgetting his last name. He plays Spurlock.
Oh, I interviewed him. He's a doll, isn't he? Great?
Oh yeah, he's big teddy bear. He's so funny. Yeah, but I would love to see more of them.
Yeah. Lazenby.
Yeah, so I'm open to court cases. Yeah. not too technical this year, please. Not a fan of technical oil company procedure.
Like all of that, like, yeah.
Anything I don't understand is not interesting to me. So unfortunately, I'm not a smart human being. I don't understand all the oil stuff. So hopefully we can just kind of go back to easier to understand things.
I think they kind of muddled. They muddled the waters on that.
Yeah, I mean, even Lee at one point, in one episode, he's like, I don't even know who's where, what, doing what. I'm like, same Lee, thank you, me too.
I know. We feel your pain.
Yeah.
Derek said the 100th episode would be episode 5. Okay, Candace.
Oh,
I don't know. I'm wondering where he said that. Maybe in the interview that he gave to.
I guess they're not counting Christmas episodes.
I guess because because I literally counted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait a minute. The Christmas episodes roll into the like sometimes are episode 1. One year they were it was episode 0. The next years they were episode 1. So.
Yeah, I don't think they always count.
Okay.
Plus, we have one episode that might be counted in some lists, but also not in others. There's one where Lori Loughlin was in it in season 6, and I think it's called Heart on My Sleeve. So some lists may count that one, but then others may not because it never aired.
I didn't count that one.
I don't count that one either. Yeah, but it's confusing.
Well, the thing is, it's going to happen early on, and that's all that counts.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would make sense for Lucas and Elizabeth's wedding to be the 100th episode. I think that would make a lot of sense. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I know.
Hopefully they take advantage of it.
I'm looking forward to all the cool stuff of the behind the scenes that we get, that we're going to start getting, and then people like, oh, what's that? We try to figure it out. And
I can't believe it's been a year since behind the scenes last year. Literally, they started rolling in and everyone's like trying on costumes and everything. I'm like, I feel like this was like 2 months ago, but really it's been a whole year. Like last July, we were doing the same thing. So I'm just like, whoa.
So Emily, I have a story. I'm going to share a story with you. And I usually try to not be like,
I want to hear this story.
I try not to be negative, but it's just something that a little is a sore point for me. So I knew about the showrunner, and as soon as it was public, I sent a message out. Well, I sent ahead of time. I sent it to all of her people. And I even, because I wanted to see if she had a social media presence, and I didn't think she did, but sometimes the way the name is, like so I called and I talked to her, those who manage her. And I was like, oh my God, how exciting. I'm so excited about the new showrunner, that she's going to be our new showrunner. And I would love to chat with her, even if it's for 15 minutes. And I said, does she have any social media presence? And they said she does not. And she said, okay, thank you. I think we saw your emails. Like, it all happened within like 2 days, right?
Right.
And as soon as the showrunner was announced, many people on all different sites were saying all kinds of negative stuff. Oh, why her? Like things like people were saying, oh, Hallmark forced out the previous showrunner, John Tinker, and Hallmark. And I'm like, no, that's not even how it works. Hallmark doesn't even have the right to do that. And why are you writing all this negative stuff? Like, we don't even know her yet. So I thought it'd be great if she hopped on and gave like a 10, 15-minute interview, right? So I reached out right away, and then I did my follow-up. And when I did my follow-up, I was told that it was past my ask. It's called an ask. Was passed on to the producers. What that says to me is I will not get to interview her. That will go to the original, to the official Heart to Heart with Marge. That's where that's my opinion. That's what I'm thinking. Even though I asked right away, nobody's responded. No one. It's dead in the water. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, Roxanne. That's really frustrating.
No, that's okay. But what's not okay is when you have that kind of you're getting all of that because Brian Bird considers that to be the official page. He thinks it's wonderful, and they get that's how they get all the people to come on their page. John Tinker, all of them. A lot of these actors won't do the interviews unless you have clearance. I have clearance. I have clearance from I have it for Hallmark in general, and I have it for the When Calls the Heart. And like, but anyway, they won't do the interviews unless because they're tired, they got other things to do,
Right.
unless Hallmark says they have to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the Heart to Heart get all of them, because they're the producer's saying, hey, Nathan, Kevin McGarry, I want you to give Marge an interview in their group. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my story. Sorry, Emily, I don't want to be negative on the last note, but that's an honest story. I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's really frustrating.
It's okay.
Yeah. I've had a few like that where
Right.
I've like tried to get an interview and then it just kind of fell through. But then the same person did an interview with someone else. I'm like, excuse me, what is going on here?
And I do
Yeah.
follow all the protocols. I do everything that I'm supposed to do. I reach out. I mean, I have, all that information, and I do all of that. And I send my questions ahead of time, and we talk and we get everything organized. And anyway, that's okay. It's all right. I'm going to put on my big girl clothing. I'll be fine.
Yep.
I
Well,
have
good for you. Yeah.
everyone that I have ever chatted with or met is actually been so lovely. I mean, so lovely and of their time and generous
Oh,
with their time.
same. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
right?
all fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I'm sure something will. It could be maybe she doesn't want to talk to anyone right
Oh,
now.
that's fine, sure.
It,
Yeah.
it could be that because I know maybe she's like writing it and doesn't want to be influenced by any of the, I don't know, outside perspectives. Not that
Mhm.
you would influence her or anything.
No, I know what you're
Yeah.
saying, totally. But when that they was passed on to the producers, and I'm like, oh, that's like dead in the water. Sorry.
Yeah. Aw. Too bad.
Look, I could be proven wrong. I'll be happy to be proven wrong. I would love that.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
Oh gosh. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know a lot of you who chatted, it was like you're new to the chat. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Sometimes people are afraid to share, they feel uncomfortable or whatever, but I really hope that you felt safe. And even though we don't all agree on everything, it's okay. We do agree on this, that Kevin and Kayla are magical. We agree on that.
Yes, I think everybody agrees about that.
Yes. All right. I'm gonna say goodnight. You could say goodnight, but just stay in the studio so we could say goodnight to each other. So. All right. Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
My suspenders unbuttoned.
Are they there?
I see them. They said hey.
Oh, I didn't even see. I missed it. Hey, I love them.
Bye, Niner girl.